Hello.
Hi.
Computer problems, don't you just love them? I do apologise. Oh, and Dawn sent me a message that sent me off looking to try and find out what she was on about, and my emails weren't working either. There's something's happened, I think, with Chrome, hasn't it? Chrome's messed everybody up as well.
What? No.
Can't see Naomi yet. Have you got your video switched on?
Don't know. No, that's just that. Don't know. Let's have a look. No, that's not that. Start video. There we go.
Oh, and I've just lost
Oh, I'm wrong way round. 1 second.
Woody, Nikki. Oh, we've lost somebody. Somebody was in and now they've gone again.
There we go.
So I've got two. Oh, I'm going to wait a little while because I think there was others that were trying to sign in. Yeah. Are you back? Woody, Nikki and Sarge.
I can't see the other people.
That's better. Getting there, nearly everybody. I think all the cameras just, or Wi-Fi's just gone on the fritz for a second.
I did.
We've got you. We've got you. Right then. Well, let's start getting updates while we wait for everybody to get themselves settled. And we'll just watch, you're still signed in as Rosie Myers, and your little puppy eating your leg.
You still see that?
Yeah. Because I'm overexcited and I'm going to be a stupid puppy and jump up and be an idiot, because that's what I'm doing just now.
Come on.
So just take your hands off him completely. Stand up straight, take your hands away. Stop touching him, just take your hands away. Stand where we can see you on camera. Take your hands away. Take them away. Just take your hands away. I know he's biting, but the more you move, the more you're inviting him to continue. Okay?
Oh.
Boy, now throw a piece of food on the floor before he starts biting again.
Yeah.
So before he starts biting again, while he's not biting, get your reward down onto the floor. The more we push at them, the more they think we're playing.
Yeah, true.
And the more we flap, the more they think we're saying, carry on, carry on. So
Yeah.
there's a good reason why people wear bite suits, you know.
I get it. Yeah.
It hurts. So get more rewards in for being feet on the floor. Keep them coming. If he jumps up, you make it really obvious that the rewards are going to stop. So your hands and the treats go really far away. So we're going to do a little game about that and how our body language and how we move ourselves affects the dog and how we can communicate better with them. Which Andrea's good at this one. Have you been doing it? We've been doing the bowl game with Ralphie.
What, this week?
At all?
Yeah, we have. We've been trying the it's your choice type thingy. So as soon as I say we have, we're doing it outside of his food times, but come his food times, it is completely manic and nothing's getting through at all. But it's going to be a theory class for us tonight because he's absolutely plumb tuckered. Spark out.
What have you been doing to the poor little toad?
Well, we made a bit of a rookie error and walked him at 3:30, and he's been going off the lead. So we've had a little runabout, and now he's jiggered.
All right. Well, if he joins us, he joins us, and if he doesn't, he doesn't.
I'm still here.
So I've got myself all in a stressy flap with it all, with the computer not letting me in and my emails playing up and Google Chrome is like a
And these things are
meltdown.
set
And
to try
Donald's
us.
messaging me saying the calendar's not working properly, so I'm in a right old 2 and 8. But we'll get an update from everybody. So we'll start with Andrea anyway. So if we just mute everybody else and get Andrea to have a word. Can you mute yourself for me, Woody, Nikki and Sarge? Because you won't let me mute you. That's it. Well done. I think. No, it's still not muting. That's it. Oh, turns your video off as well. That's interesting. We lose sight of you when you're on mute. Oh, well, you see if you can figure that out. While I have a word
Yeah.
with Andrea.
We're doing okay. Yeah, he's good. He's changed this week. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, we've had more energy, more awake, holding his bladder a lot more. We're struggling with through the night because he seems to think he wants to get up at 3:30 for a wee, which is okay. He comes and tells us that he wants a wee, so that's fine. And then 5 o'clock is his dedicated breakfast time. And he will not stop barking until he's fed. Then he'll come back to bed.
Yeah. Okay, so you mean your stomach knows what time it is, doesn't it? Regardless of what the humans think with their changing the clocks malarkey. So yeah, it's always a hard transition. What you do with regards to that is that set your alarm thing so that you wake him up.
Right.
Yeah, now it does mean you have to set it half an hour early to begin with. So that eventually what happens is instead of learning to bark and demand to get you, to force you to get up to feed them, they start to listen for the alarm.
Right.
Yeah, so that the alarm tells them that things that are exciting are going to start happening.
Okay. So do we wake up at 4:30 then?
Yes.
Oh my good God. There is
Sorry.
only one 4:30.
Okay, so to begin with, you do, unfortunately, but you don't feed him till his normal food time.
Right. Okay.
So
I'll
you
warn my neighbour.
You could give him some training and snacks and stuff to sort of appease him a little bit, but we don't want his stomach learning that breakfast time is 4:30. But we don't want him learning to call on you to get you up to get things started at 5 o'clock either. Does that make sense? So it's like balancing
It makes
act.
sense to me, or whether it makes sense to Ralph is a different matter.
Yeah.
I've already had to take my neighbour an Easter egg just to say sorry.
I think actually a bottle of gin's probably more sensible.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it is hard because we don't want them. Have you got? I'm just looking at Rosie Myers' little monster. There we go. Finally, he's got it. Feed him now. It'd be better that all my puppies are like this. Dodo's still like this sometimes. He's an idiot. That's it. Just don't work. You don't say anything to them. You don't push at them. You just go, meh, don't work. Okay. So yeah, awkward, sorry, but it is, you need to get in there before him and wake him up. And it does work eventually. They do get it eventually to the point where now my dogs don't bother moving until I've done all of my morning waking me up routine, you know.
Right.
Okay, so let's mute you for a bit. Let's have Orla, Kai and Millie.
Hello.
Yeah.
I don't really got anything to moan about.
I like it. I like it. I like it when you're
Similar to Andrea and Ralph, like she gets up, but we kind of know that we have to get up. We set an alarm for like 2:30 in the morning, and again around about 5:30, 6. But we noticed with the light, it's getting light earlier in the morning. Like she's waking up earlier, naturally, like when you do when you go camping. So I think we might have to get up a little bit earlier than that. But other than that, I think we had a bit of a dodgy week last week, which was a bit like bitey, but then like this week's has been great.
Okay.
No.
I mean, it's like all parents, isn't it? If your kids figure out that they can come into your bedroom, bounce on your bed and wake you up, then they do. You know, it's about saying to yourself, I'm not going to, it's a balancing act, because we don't want them to get stressed out and scream and get worried and scared and I'm all on my own and whatever. But at the same time, we don't want them to learn that demand barking works. So it's kind of awkward. If you can set the alarm to get there before they start their trying to wake you up routine, then that's better in my mind. And then you can slowly start to stretch the time to the time you actually wanted to get up and start all your things, including training. Sorry, darling.
Blankets on the crate.
Yeah,
So-
blankets definitely, or what do they call them? Blackout blinds, which they have to do for children as well. You know, so blackout blinds, or cover the cage if they're in a cage overnight. Yeah. So yeah, but same with kids. Yeah. But other than that, perfect. Yeah.
Socialising really well with my grandma's dog too.
Can't hear you, darling. A bit far away from the mic.
She's getting on a lot better with my grandma's dog as well now, which before she was really boisterous and jumping up at her all the time, where she doesn't do that anymore. So yeah, she's been a really good puppy this week. Don't know
Good.
about next week.
Yeah.
yeah. Next week will be different.
Yeah, they've got a lot of development to go through yet, so lots of new things to test you with. But yeah, enjoy it while it's cute. All right, darling. So let's have a look at Naomi. If you can unmute yourself for me.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. I think he's starting to show his stubbornness a little bit this week. And like we thought we was getting sort of the recall a little bit. This week he's only decided to come in when he was ready, so wouldn't come to his name very often. But I guess it's his age. He's 6 months maybe now, get into that I'll do it when I want kind of thing. But not a big deal. And then we realised that I've been unwell this week. I had my COVID jab and it made me unwell. And we never really realised that I take him out in the morning for his morning wee, and I'm the one that takes him out at the end of the day for his morning wee. I've been in bed unwell, and he would not go out for my husband. So I've had to get out of bed and take him, because he was refusing to leave the house for both weeks, even though he needed one. So we need to work on that together and make sure we mix it up. But we never realised we'd done it until I wasn't doing it. And then he was just being a little bit of a monkey and just like, I ain't going out and barking. And so I had to get up and take him. So nothing major, just a few hiccups. Nothing major.
So on the subject of stubbornness, don't think dogs are actually able to be stubborn. Okay, now that in our definition of it. So when we're being stubborn, we've set in our minds that we're not going to do something because, you know, and we have this big picture of. But actually, I want you to think of it in terms of, from the dog's point of view, why would they choose to do whatever it is that you're asking them to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your dog might have lots of really, really good reasons not to want to do those things. Internal reasons, external reasons.
Yeah.
You know, really good, that make sense to them, that have nothing at all to do with your feelings. At all. They're not doing it to upset you or to act anything against you. you know, like you've just said, your puppy might have been scared of going out with the husband because he's never been out with the husband. Yeah, so that might be the underlying issue was fear. Yeah, it might be that you provide a certain treat reward that your husband wasn't providing.
Mm,
So it could be that the motivation to do that thing wasn't there.
maybe.
Like when you say he doesn't want to come when you call him, is it because he's not getting rewarded for coming? Or it could be that in comparison with what you're offering, staying away from you is much more valuable to him. The sniffs that he's sniffing are more valuable to him than coming back for that bit of rotten whatever it is that you've got in your hand. Yeah. So it's never, dogs don't look inside us and think, how can I affect that person's feelings? Maybe when they're older, when they get to know us really well, maybe then they can start to sense that there's an emotional thing about us, that we have an internal person, but definitely not puppies. Puppies are all about themselves. So if they're not doing something, it's because they've either got really good reasons not to do it, or you're not providing good enough reasons for them to want to do it.
Right.
Okay. And the reason I want to pick you up on that is if we label the dog as stubborn, then that makes us want to make them do whatever it is.
Yeah.
That changes our emotional response to them being stubborn. And that makes us get kind of tense and angry and forceful about our training and the way that we interact. When actually what we need to do is we need to go, my puppy doesn't want to do whatever. How can I help him to feel like doing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We need to change our own brains to help the puppy to want to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So other than that, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming somebody's having a birthday.
Yeah, me today.
How old? No, that's a rude question.
Second lockdown birthday, yippee.
Oh, shame.
Never mind.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
At least somebody's gone to the effort of decorating for you.
That was my daughter. Bless her.
All right. So any other questions or concerns at the
No.
moment?
All good, thanks. Yeah.
All right. So Woody, Nikki and Sarge, I can't see. Ah, there he is. Hello.
Hiya, sorry, I'm on kid duty again.
As well.
Yeah. And they're hungry, believe it or not.
No.
But yeah, they've just had their tea, but now they're hungry for smell. So I'm running around after the kids. I've got 2 today, and the dog and the cat's just walked in as well.
The madhouse.
It is. It's bad timing because we're all gathered up on the sofa at the minute.
Oh, bless. So how are you getting on with your puppy though? That's the most important thing.
Yes. Not too bad. It was good this morning. Enjoyed that. The display. Yeah, not too bad. You can be boisterous. The thing we find it difficult is he just jump up quite a lot, especially on the kids. And just a bit worried. Obviously, you might knock him over a little bit because he is quite big. I know he's going to get bigger, but at the minute he doesn't have obviously no awareness. He just charges into him, and the kids, bless them, don't always understand what they've got to do. So that can be a little bit of an issue.
It is. And I think the most important thing to remember with kids and dogs is that you're unfortunately you're the responsible one. You know,
Yes.
if you leave them to it, they're going to teach each other all sorts of problem behaviors, you know.
Yeah.
And rather scary figure, I guess, is that 70% of dog bites are from dogs that the child knows and are on children below the age of 5 is the highest percentage of dog bites, 70%. And the reasons that they've come up with for those are children don't act sensibly. They do things like hugging dogs and moving quickly and screaming and running and chasing, and getting into dogs' faces, you know, getting too close to them. So I think the thing is, if you're like you are now, remotely supervising puppy and kids, then I would remove one or the other. You know, if you can sensibly put your kids to go and settle on the sofa and make them be still, then do that. If you can sensibly take your puppy into the other side of a pen or put him on a lead, or so you're not doing remote supervision at any point. You're always got either one set is organized or the other is organized. And if you leave a room, you take one set or the other set with you. So dog and children. But it's the same, it's very much the same as when you've got more than one child, because if you leave them alone for too long, they end up winding each other up, don't they, and getting shouty and screaming at each other.
I mean, it's currently the kids are playing and he's just sat on the sofa watching them. He generally he is good. He is good with the kids. It's just when he gets overexcited in the morning, he first sees them. It's I want to jump up and say hello to you.
Yeah. So there might be certain spark points where you have to be strong supervision. So you have to almost set it up before, because you know that's the time when he's most likely to get over aroused and overexcited and start being silly. Then maybe that's the time for him to be in the cage until everything's settled down, or on a lead until everything's settled down, so that he's not practicing at a time when, you know, you're stressed as well, because you're trying to organize the kids. You haven't got time to train him, and it's also the time when he's most likely to learn behavior you don't like.
Yes.
So much better to manage the situation. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. I do know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just checking. But now the dog just wanders off. It's fine. The dog's not too bad with him. It's the kids I'm worried about at the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless you.
It's all right. They're hypo.
Yeah, you're still pleased you got a puppy though.
Oh yeah. He fits right in because he's just as hyper as everybody else. I've got hyperactive kids, hyperactive puppy.
Oh.
But yeah, he's left the room himself and coming here with me. So
good. Okay.
Yeah, he's just, I'll show you, he's just sat down.
Oh, bless. He said, can we get rid of the kids, Dad?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Send them back. All right, darling. So any particular problems other than jumping up? Because I think we might maybe do a little bit more of that today as well.
Right, yeah. There is, one issue which we do find with him. He's basically he sniffs around and eats his poo.
Nice.
Yes. As pleasant as that sounds, he does tend to go poo, unfortunately. My wife said she walked him the other day and he was sniffing around other dogs' poo as well, which I wasn't there, but which obviously isn't great.
So the first thing with that, unfortunately, it can be normal. I don't like it, but it's normal.
Yeah.
It's quite an adaptive behaviour. I'll just mute you a second. It's quite an adaptive behaviour. It won't, that's it. Because if you think about it in the wild, those dogs that pick up the feces, there might be extra undigested protein and nutrients in that feces. So that dog who does eat the poo might be getting more calories and more goodness than the dog that doesn't eat the poo. So they're more likely to live and go on and procreate. And so that's why it's, even though they're on really good diet generally now and they don't need those additional calories or nutrients, but it's still a behavior that a lot of dogs naturally inherit. The other thing is it can be a sign, it's not always the case, but it can be a sign of a nutrient deficiency or an issue with absorbing nutrients from the gut if the gut's not quite working properly. So if you see any signs of him not developing correctly, so or becoming pot-bellied or becoming skinny. Also other behavior problems, so if he doesn't seem to learn very well, so he doesn't seem to be able to take training on board very well, then it might be worth investigating if he's not absorbing his nutrients properly. Also, it can be if you're on a really rich diet, then the poo just smells good as far as they're concerned. You know, I know it's gross, but if it's coming out and they've not used all the protein from that diet, then it comes out, they're going to want to eat it again, because as far as they're concerned, it tastes good. Gross, but true. So how do you stop it? Well, the thing is you know when they're doing a poo, so you can get your treats ready, and you can scatter treats where they can see them, but a little bit further away, so that while your puppy's busy sniffing and picking up all those scattered treats, you can have your poo bag picking up the poo. Yeah. Now, for the dog that is so desperate to get to that poo before you because it's so valuable to them, then I would have them on a lead even in the garden, so that you can hold your puppy back and pick up the poo, you know. Or you can kind of go with the philosophy that it's not the end of the world. It's a bit gross. I mean, I don't like it personally, it icks me out. So I do like to train my puppies a leave it, which we'll be talking about, not this week, but at some point we'll start introducing the idea of leave it. And then once you've got the leave it cue trained, then you can start using it for things like the higher value objects, but you need to train it as a concept first before you start using it. So yeah, yummy. Okay, so thanks for that. So Rosie, where's Rosie gone? She's run off as well. Yeah, we've lost you. Okay, so we're going to talk about little self-control games to teach your dog that jumping up and biting and trying to force you to give them what they want is not actually going to work. Okay, so from a dog's point of view, remembering that they don't see us as a person necessarily, they just see us as a thing in the environment. What we have to remember is that your dog is only ever doing what works. So that behavior, whatever they're doing, it either works to get them closer to what they wanted, or it doesn't work. And we need to set it up so it's really easy for them to tell whether or not the behavior is working or not working. Yeah? So we're going to play a little game that helps them to start to understand. I'll just have to do a bit of jiggery pokery because I didn't tidy my beds away and I haven't moved my chair, and I need to get rid of a couple of dogs. There we go. So you say, Twiggy out. Yeah, Twiggy out. She says, no, go on. Go on, go on, go on. It's not always going to be you that plays. Yes, it's the idiot. The jumpy up idiot child who's going to get to play today. So, here's a bowl of food, and the dog's natural instinct, he's rubbish as a demo dog. The dog's natural instinct, when there's something up here, the natural instinct is to jump up towards it. Come here, let's see if we can wind you up. He says, I need a new puppy. Can I borrow your puppy, Andrea? Okay. So what will happen?
Oh, yes.
Is you will have your bowl of food here, and your puppy will jump up. As your puppy jumps up, I want the bowl to come up. If your puppy offers any other behavior other than jumping up towards the bowl, then your hand is going to go in the bowl, get one piece, and deliver on the floor. Then the bowl is going to come a little bit lower. If the puppy offers any behaviour other than jumping up towards the bowl, the hand goes to the bowl and delivers that food. Okay, we're going to sneak the, ooh, he says, I nearly got it wrong, I'm going to offer this behaviour instead. So what we're looking for is the dog finding out if they move towards the bowl or try and poke the bowl goes higher. If they hold themselves down or they keep the feet on the floor, the bowl comes lower and we get a reward. And I want you to slowly do it until the bowl is on the floor, full of food. Yeah, I'm going to make sure we're taking a piece regularly out there to say yes, holding yourself back, or sitting, or standing. Anything that isn't going towards the bowl is going to get rewarded. Until eventually you can stand up, and your puppy's going to be looking at you, and then you're going to go back to your bowl, get another piece. And obviously he's 3 years old now, he's been doing this for years, so I can do weird things like walk all the way away from the bowl and then go back to the bowl to get him his next treat. But to begin with, he wasn't like that. To begin with, he was a completely roving loony who just couldn't keep his feet on the floor at all. So what's going to happen to begin with is your puppy's going to jump up, they're going to try and get in the bowl, they're going to try and force it out of your hand. There's going to be all sorts of fun going on. So you slowly bring the bowl down a tiny bit. If the puppy holds themselves down, you move your hand into the bowl to get your piece of food and you put it onto the floor. Now that movement of your hand to the bowl is really important. So I want you to keep your reward hand away from the bowl until you've seen your puppy make a good choice. If they make a wrong choice, we make it really clear. And we do all of this silently. So there's no saying or ooh or whatever, just silence. So that it's really obvious if I move towards it, it doesn't work. If I hold myself back from it, reward there before it goes wrong. Okay, so if your puppy's holding themselves still for a long time, make sure you tell them that they've got it right. So with little Orla there, okay, pay there, too late, pick your bowl up. Go on, get it out of that puppy's face. All right, so did you see, when you watch back your video, your puppy sat there for quite a long time going, I'm doing it, I'm keeping myself still. There was lots of opportunities to reward all of that stillness, but you kept pushing it until the puppy broke, and then she got a massive reward for trying to get into the bowl. Yeah? So instead, so what works now from your pup's point of view is jump in the bowl. Jump in the bowl, that works. So now we need to make sure that we don't ask for so much. We reward frequently enough for the puppy to think, well, holding myself back, keeping my feet on the floor, that's what we should do. That's how to get the food to keep coming. So if you look at little Ralph at the moment, he's holding himself still and the bowl's right in front of his face. And she's got two dogs working. If we move towards the bowl goes higher. If we hold ourselves back from the bowl, then a treat comes from the bowl to the floor. Okay, and keep that treat hand still until the puppy's made a decision. What we're rewarding here is choices. If the pup makes a good choice, one that we want to see more of, holding themselves back, restraining themselves, teaching themselves self-control, then we're going to reward them. We're going to say that is the right choice. If they make the wrong choice and they move towards the bowl, we're not going to punish them, but we're going to make it clear that doesn't work. So it's not about telling them off, it's about showing them that behavior works, this behavior doesn't work. Make it really nice and black and white for them. So if you've got a puppy that jumps up a lot, this is one of the ways to start teaching them to control that impulse. When I want the owner's attention, all I do is jump up, and that makes that owner touch me. That makes that owner push me down. Yeah, and that makes that behavior is being reinforced. I jump up, the owner touches me. I jump up, the owner touches me. So what we have to do, if it's about attention, so instead of when you're using a food bowl to train it, if it's about attention and we keep touching them, we're going to make that jumping up happen more. So what we do instead is we take our body language away, we take our hands away, we take our voice away, we take everything away, and we wait until the feet are on the floor, and then we say, and now you can have a little bit of me. Yeah, if you keep your feet on the floor, you offer me any self-controlled behavior, I'll give you that thing that you were trying to get. Ralph's lost it. They've both lost it. They've both gone loony pants. So if the training session gets too stressful for them, just have a break, get up, walk away. Don't get stroppy with them. Just make it clear, barking doesn't make me continue to play that game. Because you had a whole load of really good self-control there, and that's hard work. You know, controlling your impulses is hard. How many of you have managed to walk, you know, when you was a 5 or 6 year old and your parent would say to you, do not stick your finger in the icing on that cake? Yeah. How many of you managed to not stick your finger in the icing on that cake? I was not one of those kids. I would find a way, yeah, I would find a way of trying to make it look as if I hadn't done it. So I'd try and smear it so that it looked as if I hadn't really tasted it, but I couldn't stop myself. So controlling your impulses is hard work. And especially if the situation is scary or causes a little bit of anxiety, or they're not sure, which causes anxiety, just not being sure, or if they're excited about something. All of these things cause the brain to be able to sort of go into overdrive, and they stop thinking. We want to get them back into thinking mode. We want to get them back into learning and understanding what we're trying to show them mode. Okay, so that is very similar to the game where the food's in the hand. If you move towards the food, the hand closes. So we've done that one, haven't we? Just give me thumbs up so that I know that I've definitely shown you that, because if we haven't, then I need to go through it. So it's a very similar idea. If you move your nose towards the hand up, it shuts. And if you hold yourself back, it comes to you and it delivers to you. Okay, so the bowl game is a little bit harder because obviously it's a bigger target and the pup's going to want to get into it. Ralph's actually thinking again now. All right, so another thing then, let's just have a look at a little game you can play with jumpy uppy puppies. Dodo is a very jumpy uppy puppy. When I first got him, and even now, you know, if he's excited, he'll start jumping up. But when I first got him, I was in tears because he was so sore, so scratchy. And I had a dog at work. I'll show you the other day if it will come onto camera. I don't know if it will or not. Got really deep scratches on my arm from a dog that was sort of jumping up and panicking and worrying at my veterinary nurse job, and just grabbed my arm with his paws, not with his teeth. So what we're going to do, we have a sudden itch. What we're going to do, and your puppies again, he's had a lot of practice of this, but your puppies are going to get excited. So what we do is we get them excited. So a lot of frantic movement, beating your chest, inviting them up, silly, childish behaviours. And whenever they choose, instead of jumping up, every single time they choose to keep their feet on the floor, put food on the floor. So you kind of see if you can get them to jump up, and then you wait while their feet are on you. You go still, and as soon as they drop their paws off you, food goes down onto the floor. So wind them up a little bit, see if you can get them to jump up. Yeah? And when they've chosen to keep their feet on the floor, food goes on the floor. So if your pup's paws go on you, take your hands out of the way, go still, take everything away. It's a bit like the bowl game. The bowl goes higher out of the way. Well, the body language goes quieter. And Stella now reward him for keeping his feet on the floor. Every time they choose feet on the floor, the reward goes down on the floor. And again, we're not telling them what we want them to do. We're showing them jumping up doesn't work. But keeping your feet on the floor while I'm being silly, that does work. Some nice dance moves. I'm liking it. Okay, so you can do the same game, slight different variety of it, with a toy, something that they're crazy about. This is a very loved toy. You can see it's been loved a lot. It's a squeaker, so it's going to get a bit loud. And I'm going to show you how to play a choices game where we wind him up and then he makes a choice to earn this reward back again. Okay, so yes, it's the thing. You can see it. So here it is. And he really wants it, but I'm going to keep it out of play until he offers me a calm, anything that keeps his feet down, and I'm going to bring it low to him so he can have a game. Now, to get it back off him again, put a piece of food on the end of his nose, and this comes out of play. It's up here. It's not in grab zone. I'm not dangling it down here for a puppy. Up here, I'm going to wind him up a little bit, and if he makes a good choice, it comes into him. I deliver it to him, and then we have a game again. Good old game of the tug. Yeah? While he's tugging, I'm going to get a piece of food. I'm going to stick it right on the end of his nose. This goes out of play. Don't leave it dangling down there, because your puppy's going to think the game's still on. Take it right up. Out of play, wait until they offer a really calm or any kind of feet on the floor, and that the toy gets delivered to them. And that's his favourite toy because he only ever gets to play with it when we're in here doing training sessions, so he absolutely adores it. Come here, Paul. Gloves on there. Bad. Watch the puppies, look. So self-control. It's not about us saying you will do such and such. We decide what behaviour we would like to see, and we make sure that the thing that they want is delivered when they offer a little bit of what we'd like to see. So they're not going to be perfect to begin with. They're not going to be sitting up smart and tidy or taking themselves off to their beds like Odo does. To begin with, it might be one split second of them, instead of jumping up, they sit back or they stand back a little bit. They give a little bit of space. We might decide that's what we're going to take as our start behaviour, the behaviour that we're going to start giving that reward for. And eventually, when they're really, really clever at it and they're really good at holding themselves back, then we can start to say, sit first. Do a down first, and then you can have it. And we can start building up what they can cope with before we deliver that choice. So I'll show you a bit of what you can get eventually, but remember, it doesn't happen overnight. It's lots and lots of training experiences that eventually get you there. So here's his favorite toy. We can go sit, down, sit, touch, sit, in bed, wait. Get it. Yeah, good boy. Ta. Sit. Good boy. All right, so eventually, so to begin with, if your puppy is just really jumpy uppy all the time, you might reward them when they just step back a little bit instead of diving towards the toy. You might start with when they take a breath instead of just immediately putting their paws back onto you and grabbing at you. It might be a really small behavior that you reward for the first time. Okay then, so we go back to food with self-control and play a really cute game. Game I love. It's a game called Mousy Mousy. You'll see why in a minute. So, I hope you can see my food on here. So here's my puppy. I've already done some self-control games, so he's starting to know to hold himself back from my hand. Yeah, now I'm going to put the food on the floor. And here's my mouse. This is the mouse. And the mouse moves a little bit, not a lot to begin with, just a little. And if the puppy moves towards the mouse goes back in the hole. Okay? If the puppy holds themselves back, you can move that mouse around a little bit. Don't ask them to do it for too long. When they've held themselves back for a little bit, flick it towards your puppy so they can have it. So the mouse runs. Okay, so here we go. It's moving around a little bit. Puppy makes a good choice. Flick it towards your puppy. Get another mouse. He moves towards the mouse. Did you see it went inside the mouse hole? Because he moved towards it. Going to move it around a bit. And when he's made a good choice, it's gone under the bed. Oh. When he's made a good choice, you can flick that mouse so that you can have a little bit of a chase after it and you can catch it. Does everybody understand that? So again, it's about self-control. When the puppy offers us a little bit of still and calm and self-control, then they get a little bit of excitement in return for making that choice. And you might like to tell them when they're allowed to get it, you can tell them, get it. So they can have a little bit of excitement chasing after that treat. Oh, he's a monster. Tyke was just the same, you know, all teeth and bitiness. When he was little, he was horrible. It hurts. I had a husband at the time. He had an injury in a rather delicate area as a result of puppy Tyke when he was tiny. Okay, and if you, that's it, beautiful. So we're looking for that small amount of self-control. That's it, and take your body, beautiful. So can you see, as soon as you go still and you just make it really clear, none of that's going to work, your puppy's going, all right, I'll sit back. Does this work? Can you see how that's working? Like a little Ola. So I'm working, I'm really focusing, I'm really trying. It's really hard though. I really want to go after it. It's hard. It's hard to control yourself when you're a baby. That's it. So it's a case of them finding out what works and what doesn't work. If they keep diving on your hand, they just don't get the treat. The treat disappears. It runs off. It never comes back out of the mouse hole. That's going to mean the next time they're going to try something else. And that something else that they try might be something that we can reward. It might be something we can say, well, that's closer to what I'm aiming at. It might not be perfect yet, but it's closer to what I'm going to want in the future. Okay, so you can take Mousy Mousy to extremes. So I'll just show you a dodo. Extreme Mousy Mousy game. Just go on your bed. Good weight there. So here what are you doing? Go on your bed. Good man. So here we have a pile of mice, all skittering in different directions. Yeah? You're not allowed to go for any of them at all until I say, get it. On your bed. On your bed. Get it. Okay. You can go Mousy Mousy extreme eventually. That was me not putting my bum on the stool. There's a comedy moment for you. I'll decide whether or not to edit it when I do the video copy. Okay, but you're not going to take them to extreme levels unless you're pretty sure they're going to get it right. Because the aim is not to set the dog up so that we're telling them off or getting grumpy with them. The idea is that we should have a dog who gets a chance to get it right frequently. So we make it easy for them to get it right. Lots and lots and lots of reinforcement every time they're a little bit closer to what your final goal is. Hello. I know I'm all breathless because I fell over. Yeah. Here, look. He says the mice are on the desk. Okay. Who wants another game? Another little self-control game. Let's see if I can fall off my stool again. Okay. So here, do you remember that game you play with kids when you're feeding kids with the spoon? Aeroplane game, where you zoom it down to the child with the spoon. What we're going to do with this game, so I can get a better view. Yeah, I know. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, so you can see him. So here, if he keeps still, my hand's going to zoom to him. Here's a treat. If he keeps still, my hand's going to zoom to him. So to begin with, that fast bit is going to be quite long. So I'm going to zoom from all the way over here to all the way to his mouth. But then I want you to make it slow zoom. Yeah? And then we're going to make it slow for longer. So the puppy has to control themselves for longer and then zoom that last bit. And then eventually it's going to go slow. And if your puppy moves towards it, it goes back. And go slow all the way to that puppy's nose. And they've got to control themselves all the way until it touches their lips and then they can have it. Okay, but to begin with, puppies controlling themselves, zoom all the way. All right, so starts with a long zoom to begin with. Then you're going to have a short bit where it's slow and quite a long zoom. And you're going to slowly, slowly stretch the length of the slow bit and shorten the length of the zoom bit to their nose. All right, puppy. And remember, it's all about them controlling that instinct to just dive towards the food and bite at your fingers. It's all about them controlling themselves. And it's about us getting that treat in before they get it wrong. So that's why you zoom quick to begin with. I want you to eventually get so that you're really exaggerating it. You're making it really, 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 really slow, and they've got to focus and concentrate the whole time while it's coming towards them bit by bit. And if they lose it at the end, oh, it goes away. But if they keep getting it wrong, that means that we need to start zooming it a bit faster for a little while. So we want them to get it right. We don't want them to keep getting it wrong. Okay, and once your puppy's got the idea, then you can start changing which hand it zooms from, which direction it zooms from. So sometimes you might hold your arm out to the side and zoom from the side to them, zoom from above your head down to them, zoom from underneath their chest to them, so that it's coming from different directions in different ways. So we'll just show you that a little bit. So we've got treats in the hand. We don't want him nagging at the hand unless we're luring him. We want him to see treats in the hand and think, I need to control my impulse to go after that food, even if it's here and it comes from underneath there. I need to hold myself still so that it can, and if he jumps up, do a tiny little move away, just to let him know that can't have it until it reaches it. Okay, so we're not saying anything in all of these games. It's about the puppy having space to think. Why didn't it work? When I did that, why didn't it work? The more we talk, the harder it becomes for them to actually be able to think. So we need to make it really physical, really obvious physically. Look at those two having a rave. Okay, we're going to unmute you all so you can get my attention. Let's have a chat. Some of you have gone off toileting puppies and things. So how did you get on with them games? Any comments? Any thoughts on those?
I was really surprised how quickly she picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the first blooper, she was really good after it. She wouldn't do the jump. She doesn't really jump up for her toys. So when I was trying to encourage her, she just wasn't doing anything. So I was just rewarding her for that.
Yeah. You know, and we're really bad at noticing and rewarding our puppies when they're being good. You know, we wait until things go wrong and then we start trying to change that behavior and we get all reactive with it. When actually, you saw earlier, your puppy was sitting there doing loads of good and getting no attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really got to change our brains to notice when they're doing stuff that we like and reward them for doing stuff that we like instead of getting involved every time they're doing stuff we don't like. And it is hard. It is hard. So one more game, I'm going to set you a challenge to post onto the WhatsApp group a photo of your dog doing the following. Okay, you ready? So what we're going to do is get yourself a little handful of treats. And what we're going to do, good man, is I want you to put one treat down, give one to your dog. Put one treat down, give one to your dog. If at any point they get up and move towards these, we cover them. But every single time they make a good choice and don't go after the one on the floor, we're putting another one down. And I want, with these ones that you're putting on the floor, I want you to spell the first letter of their name. Yeah? So we can make a letter out of that. And if you really fancy, you can spell their full name. And now, once you've got a load of treats down there, you're going to have them do a really good wait while you get your camera and you fiddle about with it. Make sure we can see your letter and your dog at the same time in the same view. And while you're doing that, remember that your puppy's going to need you to keep reassuring them by rewarding them while you're setting up your camera and taking your picture. So let's see if I've got my camera. We'll do that for you. Wait there. Now, obviously, he wasn't good at this when he was little, and you only get what you practice. You only get what you practice. So, good man. And I've done a T for tights, and I'll post that to you in a minute, and then we can go, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yay! Masses all over the place. All right, so that's a little bonus game for you. If you post photos, I'll post mine now, so you can see how to get on. And remember, with self-control, the more you can set your puppy up that they're going to get it right, instead of trying to catch them out for getting it wrong, the better. Because we want our pups to learn that some behaviours we don't like. But if we just get angry and start touching, pushing, doing silly things, all we're going to do is wind them up. They're not learning anything. Come out.
Julie,
Hello.
on that last game, can we give a verbal cue like leave?
No, not
Right.
yet. Okay, not yet. Because next week we're going to talk about leave it and different ways of training that more specifically. What I want, this is almost, apparently there's a mouse under the bed. What are you doing? What I want here is like a default. It's a default leave it. So you don't sit without being told to leave it. Does that make sense? So, so we don't want to add a cue to this at the minute. It's the concept of not going after something that you want. It's the concept of offering calm behavior in a situation where you'd rather get crazy. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions then before we sign us off? Anything that you found really difficult, anyone? Or didn't make sense? Now, yeah, go on and unmute yourself for me. You can ask.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'll just say that I'll probably have to watch the video to get some of the stuff done.
I know.
Yeah, I've done some of it, and some of it was quite good actually. I was quite impressed, but now it's all gone Pete Tong as it was.
Oh, bless you.
So, I'll watch the video back. I've missed some crucial bits, I think. So
Don't worry. You know, real life and all of that. It'd be nice when we can get into class because, as you said today, it's nicer getting that actual real, and also because you're not got your attention being divided constantly. To be able to focus is so much better. Yeah. Okay.
I'll
So
get that photo on there.
yeah, I will do. All right. So if everybody's happy, you want to give us a quick wave goodbye so that I know that you're here and we're going to sign off. Yeah, we'll see you later. Bye.